Hello, this is Sani again, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you that what are different methods to handle the on click of a button. Actually there are two methods in Android to handle the on click of a button. First is by implementing it on the on click property of the XML view, and the other are by using the on click listener. Okay, so I'm going to explain all these methods in this tutorial, so keep watching and keep learning. Let's start with by implementing a button over here. So I'm going to use the width. Let me have it 200 dp, and height, not height, simple height, layout height. Okay, and let me have 50 dp, and I'm going to have a text of by using on click property of XML. Okay, let me have the height of this view, button view of wrap content, and I'm going to give id btn1, and center and parent would be true, and align parent top would also be true. Okay, so we are done with our button design. Now let's move into the main activity and define a user defined method over here. Let me have show message. Okay, and to make it clickable I'm going to pass the object of view toast and creating a simple toast, which will display by using the on click property of XML view. Okay, so in the next step you have to connect this method or reference this method in the on click property of any XML view. On click, and there you go, show message. Okay, so this was the first method. Next method is by using the on click listener. You can use the on-click listener in three ways: by directly implementing the on-click listener on main activity file, by using a separate class, or by using the anonymous class. So I'm going to explain all three methods in this tutorial. So let's get started. First of all, let me design another button, and this would be by using on-click listener, by using on-click listener. Okay, and this would be it2, and let me remove the line parent top with below btn 1. So we have our second button. Now let me move into main activity again and implements on click listener and I'm going to as you can see that I have implemented it, but it is saying that if I implement the on-click listener on the main activity, then I have to implement all the abstract method of the on-click listener as well. So first of all, I'm going to implement the methods. Now, as you can see, the on-click method has been implemented in the main activity. Okay, so I'm going to use another toast over here, toast, and this is by using simple on-click listener. No, the next part is I have to connect this XML button with the Java button in order to modify it at runtime. So I'm going to get that button btn2, and let me connect it by using the btn2 find view method. And now I would use the set on click listener method, and I would pass the object of main activity, which is current object, and I would that would be represented by this keyword. Okay, so this was the second method, which is by directly implementing the on-click listener on the main activity. So I'm going to have another button over here to implement the third method, which would be like this. Okay, control C, and this would be our third button by using a separate class. Okay, this would be button 3, and this would be below of button 2. Let me remove the property this and from this as well. Okay, so let me create another class sample class. In this class I'm going to implement on click listener, and if I have implemented the on click listener, then I have to implement all the abstract method as well. So actually not implement, but to provide the definition for all of the methods that are abstract method in the on click listener. Okay, so as you can see that I have passed that on click listener. I have provided definition for the on click listener in the sample class as well. So I'm going to have a toast over here, toast, and toast would be new toast. Get application context. We can't use the application context over here, so I'm going to create the constructor of a sample class to get the context from the main activity. So context 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 context. Okay, this dot context would be equal to context. So now I can pass that context over here, and this is by using the separate class. Okay, so now I'm going to get that second button, sorry, third button in this, in the main activity, and let me connect it with the XML button as well, and it would be like 3. And now I would set the on click listener on button 3 as well. Set on click listener, but this time I would not pass the this keyword but a reference to object of this class. Okay, so in order to pass the object, first I have to create the object of sample class obj sample class, and let me initialize it before using obj sample class. So new sample class, and here I have to pass the context which I will use later on by in the my make text method of toast class. Okay, so I'm going to give this. Okay, now it is making some sense, and this time I would not pass this keyword but instead I would pass this object. Okay, so let me pass this. So this was the second method to implement the on click listener by using a separate class. Now let's have another button in this class. I'm going to copy and paste this one, and this would be by using anonymous class, by using an anonymous class, and this would be, this would have id 4 and this would be below to button 3. Okay, first of all I'm going to create a third button in the main activity class btn, sorry, 4 button, and I am going to connect this button with the btn4 equal to find view by id or data id btn4. Okay, so now I'm going to use the anonymous class, and I would say that on click listener ob, ob obj on click listener would equal to new on click listener, and as you can say, as you can see that we have created this object, but in order to set this object, first let me make a toast over here so you can distinguish this at runtime by using anonymous class. Okay, but no, in order to set the on click listener, you have to set the on click listener after defining the anonymous class. Okay, so I'm going to use the set on click listener, and this time I would pass this object. So instead of creating this object, you can directly use this code inside instead of this object. So what if I do this control X and I paste this code inside this class by removing this, and I'm going to have, so this code is same as the by creating anonymous class, but you can directly create anonymous class inside the parenthesis of set on click listener. So guys, I hope that you would have understand something out of this video. Keep watching and keep learning. See you guys in the next tutorial.